Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the RENNSPORT Road to Launch series here today at Road Atlanta as we head into round 5 of the championship. 2 splits again, very high strength of field here today for split 1, and one of the most interesting racetracks in all of America. And alongside me to bring it through the evening is Tim Ireland as usual. Welcome, Tim.
Hello, Lino. Hello, everyone on Twitch. How are you guys doing today? You must be having a fun Sunday. I'm sure you are. We're about to have a fantastic Sunday here at Road Atlanta with some M2s.
Very much so. I mean, Road Atlanta always proved to be a very good racetrack. Definitely this weekend especially. But yeah, now with the M2, one of our favorite cup classes after yesterday's Creator Cup, which was, well, very chaotic to put it that way. But interesting to see what our community is doing here today. Yeah, right on qualifying, as we see Dominik Ladler, the current championship leader, but not by much, setting his first lap time. But yeah, the championship is definitely looking very interesting, isn't it? As this time it seems to be Tim who has some internet issues. But yeah, if we take a look at the current standings, we see that Dominik Ladler is leading by 3 points over Ali Zai. It's not a lot. So anything to play for here today. As the drivers put in their first lap time. Pole position though goes to Ali Zahir. Goes a bit wide now, exiting turn 1. But yeah, in Road Atlanta, a lot of chances to put in a lap time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a shorter lap, so they've got plenty of time to do multiple laps. They can set in a nice, easy banker and then build up from there, or just go balls to the wall, depending how they feel.
We also have some very interesting prospects here on the grid. A lot of names we haven't seen before, which is nice to see. One of them being Jacob Waliski. And yeah, in general, some people we have seen rising through the ranks, such as Milop. We've seen him before in some races. I think he was split 2 last time around. But he is here now today in split 1, currently 5th in qualifying. So a lot of new people that could throw in a spanner in the fight for victory between Ali Zai and Dominik Ladler.
Yeah, always good to have new guys on in the field and taking part, or just getting a bit better and moving up into the split 1, which is the one we cast. So yeah, I'm expecting some of the regular guys to maybe get a bit further up the field. It looks like they've just come in to set some banker laps so far, so probably a little bit quicker as the session goes on, but we will see, I suppose.
See some changes. Gerardo Recker moving up into 4th. Emil moving up into 3rd. So 2 GST drivers in the top 3. TP Racing, the third of those, currently in P7. It seems like Enrico Bräuninger has not set a lap time. Same goes for Julian Checot. So these two starting from the back out on the grid with Joe Soria as Marcel Feuerbach is going a bit wide here in turn 10.
I don't know whether it's been a tactical removing yourself from the turn 1 chaos or what, but it's always an option.
We've seen yesterday how that may or may not work out, and especially at Road Atlanta you have a lot of laps, but of course not as much space on the track to make up positions. How this will in the end influence the drivers in their driving style, that of course is to be seen. But yeah, I think it will be very interesting going into turn 1. It's definitely where in the past we have seen some interesting moves being made.
You could say that, yes.
But I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, T1 at Road Atlanta can be a dangerous one. If you get pushed a little bit wide, it's high speed into a wall.
And we go racing here at Road Atlanta. It's been a good getaway for both cars on the front row. I think Emil didn't get a good jump off the line because the 5 car is already past him. And we go side by side into the first complex of the S's. Alizaya being able to keep the lead. Emil a bit edged out, and there's contact between Emil and Bereke, who both kind of lost control of the car, and big carnage here. Almost like with the certain two-seater convertible on this track just 2 days ago. But out front with a big lead already, it's Alizaya and Dominic Ladler, and then it's TP Racing, who came from 7th on the grid. Enrico Bräuninger up into 12th already. Fighting against, that should be Justin Wilkins. It's on the inside line.
Bill Sawyer as well, making some big wins at the beginning there. He's 8 places ahead of where he started the race.
So some very big movers here early in the race. And you can see the big gap these two have already to the cars behind TP Racing, who now has Jacob Vasilko. May sure I get that name right soon. Behind him. Gerardo Bereke got quite the hit on the rear left quarter panel in that early incident. Let's see how this will pan out for him.
I think Piotr Zadybal got a drive-through for start line problems as well, so he'll be popping into the pits anytime when he gets round to the end of the first lap.
Enrico Bräuninger already making moves to get up into the top 10. But again, behind Justin Wilkins, who goes a bit wide and is now on the grass. Can he keep it somewhat pointed the right direction? No, but... Oh, and that was a big hit there for Julien Chicot, who was not able to avoid the spinning BMW in front of him. Joe Soria trying to get past Gerardo Bereke here. And moving down the inside. Oh, and Enrico Bräuninger spun round, exiting, I think it's turn 8. Not sure if there was contact involved, but it really throws him far down the order. Rejoins behind Emil, who of course dropped down in that early incident. Oh, and big dive there from Gerardo Bereke against Joe Soria, but Joe Soria got it covered on the outside, goes a bit wide onto the curbing. That is position for Gerardo Bereke.
I wasn't sure he was going to hold his line there, but they managed to just make it work.
On board with Gerardo Bereke, looking back at the train from Soria, Milope and Vasilko, who dropped out of the top 4 here. Definitely a lot of action. I think that is already pretty clear in this race. With a yellow out in turn 1, that's Marcel Vollbracht. Julien Chicot is trying to get past Jakub Janarski and does it on the outside. And the exit of the S's, you don't see that often.
Carl bouncing around there. Hitting that kind of evil curb on the outside, but managing to keep it under control.
The damage on many of these cars won't really make it easier for the drivers. And already a 14-second lead from Dominic Lalla to TP Racing. Enrico Bräuninger is now moving past Emil. Oh, and that's Gerardo Bereke running a bit wide in turn 1. Losing position to Joe Soria in the process. Turn 1 really proving to be a tricky spot on this track, right?
It does tend to be. It's an off-camber, really fast right-hander, and if you get just a little bit off track, it can. It's a fight basically to avoid hitting the walls then, because you're going pretty quick, and cars meeting walls tend to lose. So you've really got to try and keep it on track there, or at least out of the wall. Enrico Bräuninger looks like he had a bit of a fight with a wall there.
Yeah, I wonder if that damage was from what we've seen before, where he was stationary at this point of the track, or if it was with car-to-car contact, as we've seen with Julian Chicot. Now trying to move past Artenicic, but not easy on the straights now to keep that position. You see that slipstream coming into effect now.
And he's going to have probably a bit of a hurt top speed because of all the damage to his car as well. So Netcheck got all the advantages he needs. But trying to squeeze it on the inside.
Oh, and it seems like there's some technical issue for Enrico Bräuninger noise. Not quite sure what happened there, but he is rolling still. So maybe some internet issues on his end. The 6 of Joe Soria right on the back bumper of TP Racing. That is for a podium position.
Yeah, Joel Soria, third is probably the highest he's going to get right now because he's got a big gap up to Dominic Ladler.
Oh, TP Racing running a bit wide. It's a name you may not have seen that much on the official broadcasts here on the channel, but he has been with RENNSPORT for quite a long time, and he's also moved through some of the teams. And I think he really developed as a driver, and today he's running third in this race. Now with Joe Soria just behind, not easy to defend that position, but he's sure giving it his best shot.
Yeah, Joel not able to quite get enough overspeed from the draft to make a move there, and TP Racing covering the corner pretty nicely, taking a bit of a defensive line, making sure Joel doesn't try anything.
Piotr Zadaiwa, as you said, had a drive through. Means he's a bit further down the order, but you can see the car in pretty good condition, so maybe it kept him out of trouble as well, and he will be able to take up some positions throughout the race with that.
He's definitely lapping a bit quicker than some of the people ahead of him, so he should be able to gain a few places.
Oh, and that's TP Racing running very wide and hard into the wall. That's such an easy mistake to make, but yeah, just caught him out while being under pressure from Joe Soria all the time. Question is the damage significant, or can he carry on with that? Because Melopi is not that far behind.
His steering doesn't look too bad. He's looking pretty straight, so it's maybe more aerodynamic damage than anything. He might be okay.
Quick look at the front of the field. Alizar leading over Dominic Ladler by 2.3 seconds. This, of course, is for the championship, essentially, because these two are separated by 3 points coming into this round. Alizar already clawed back one of these 3 in qualifying. If he can beat Dominic Ladler, he will also take the lead in the championship. But it's, again, not by much. And it's also still 25 minutes left to go. And so far, mistakes have happened even to the most veteran drivers on the grid.
Yeah, Road Atlanta, one of the probably bumpier tracks we have on RENNSPORT, and the M2, unless you really tweak its suspension, is a pretty bouncy car, which can make for a bit of a killer combo if you get it wrong.
Enrico Bräuninger somehow still in 6th. I feel like every time we looked at his car, there was some sort of setback, but still, he found his way forwards. Now trying to get closer to Millop.
His last lap round was a 29.6, which is still quicker than Millop and TP Race ahead of him, and Joel Sawyer for that matter. So he's got a chance to still make up some decent positions here. He's just got to close the gaps.
Artemetic trying to defend around the outside in turn 8, but not quite able to do so. The 9 of Gerardo Becker also struggling, and that is Emil coming through. Didn't seem like there was contact between them, but just that they kind of didn't get along with the lines they were on.
Yeah, there's quite a few places on this track where there is only really one line, and if neither of you are on it, that's a bad day.
But they rejoin the race in 10th and 11th. Of course, lost 2 positions to Chico and Emil in the process. But there's still a good train of cars between P8 and P13, the last one being Piotr Zadybel of these. And he's right on the back of the train here, so as said, he has the best car, as that is Jakub Jonarski, who ran a bit wide, and Jodo Recke standing on the track after some contact, as it has seemed. Well avoided by these 2 drivers, though.
Yeah, that was a sudden jump scare from a car appearing in front of you there. Gerardo trying to get back on track. His M2's looking pretty beaten up. He's a bit left-hand down, but he should be okay.
Oh, and 2 M2s off the road. Piotr Zadybel picking up 2 positions. Nitschik and Jonarski both running right. Didn't expect turn 8 to make this many problems for the drivers. As they are now also being picked up by Gerardo Burecke. And they touch on the straight as well. Somehow all still pointing into the right direction. People are not shying away from making contact in this race so far.
No, definitely not. They're taking the touring car spirit, I think, is perhaps the way I'm going to say it.
Of course, our 2 leaders will have to watch out for that, because yes, they will get blue flags, but especially here on Road Atlanta, it's not that easy or as straightforward as some might think. That's Jonarski and Burecke moving past Nitschik. And Enrico Breuninger is right on the back of his teammate TP Racing.
Yeah, he seems to have been doing a pretty good compact drive, Enrico Breuninger. He's been pretty solid in the kind of 29s, high 28s lap time. So he's got some good pace on the guys ahead of him. Really closed that gap up.
TP Racing has to, of course, watch out to not do the same mistake again. Goes off the throttle, but in the process, Enrico Breuninger is moving by on the inside. Clean move. And that's now a 10-second gap to Joel Soria.
Yeah, he is lapping a little bit quicker than Joel Sawyer, but 10 seconds is a hefty gap to make up in the last 20 minutes of the race. We'll see how that goes on.
Meanwhile, Piotr Zdybel is up into 10th already. He's got 6 seconds now to Julian Chico in front, but so far it's looking pretty good for him.
Yeah, he's just done his quickest lap of the race as well, so he's definitely picking up speed.
And for Marcel Vollbracht as well, he's getting closer to Jonaski in front. So maybe also for him a chance to pick up some spots. He's been in the RENNSPORT Road to Launch series for quite some time now. So he's also looking to back some good results here. But we can also see 2 cars behind, and those are the leaders. This is Ali Zaya and Dominik Ladler. I think it's the first lapping maneuvers they will really have to do at speed. But it could get them closer together. Marcel Vollbracht beautifully giving way here. Very fair play to him. But the cars in front are a lot closer.
No part of that fight.
Quite the opposite. If he can somewhat keep close to the 2, he may be able to just hang on as the other guys are making way. This is now the 10 car. Not the 10 car, the 13 of Jonaski letting Alizaya pass through. And if that costs them a bit more time than it costs himself to let these 2 through, brings him closer to his goal as well.
Yeah, that's very true. And yeah, you can maybe learn a few things from the front runners as they come through. If you've got time to let them through and you can kind of stick on to them for a little bit, you can maybe get a few tips.
Dominik Ladler in the slipstream of Jonaski. Did help him on the straight. Of course, in the end, you have to brake on the inside line, you lose a bit. But overall, he's now 1.8 seconds back from Alizaya. So he didn't lose any time in the lappings, which is already half the game, essentially. And Joe Soria has dropped behind Enrico Bräuninger in the meantime. So there must have been some bigger mistake by the Spaniard in this case, because Enrico Bräuninger was quite far away.
Enrico's been putting in some good laps recently. He's got a couple of really good purple middle sectors, so he's been really picking up some pace. Last lap round he was nearly half a second faster than Soria.
Alizaya now with clean air in front of him, so is Dominik Ladler, who has lost a bit of time. But there's of course plenty more to come. Emil just a second back from from Basilko. Julian Chico behind him by 3 seconds.
Ali Zahir, the only guy to have done a sub 28, 128 here today. Fastest lap being a 127.99955.
Those were a lot of numbers in short notice.
Yes. It's too many for a Sunday.
Of course, this is round 5 of the Road to Launch series, meaning there's more to come, because it isn't the finale yet. In 1 week's time, we will have round number 6, and that one will take place at... Oh, this is actually the wrong picture. Slight inconvenience here. At Jeddah. And I mean, Road Atlanta is one thing, Jeddah is the other. And pretty much the opposite of what we have here today, right?
Yeah, very much so. I suppose in some ways it's similar, like in the fact that Road Atlanta's not got a lot of runoff before there's walls, whereas Jeddah's got no runoff and then there's walls. But except for that, it's a very, very different track. Road Atlanta obviously being pretty short, a kind of club level, I suppose you'd say generally. Road track in America, bumpy, undulating, lots of different corners, sliding around. Jeddah being a fancy pants Formula One circuit.
That's one way to put it. Yeah, and of course, very different speeds. The length, of course, you have the shortest circuit and the longest circuit. Or not the longest, but one of the longest circuits. Right behind each other. And yeah, Road Atlanta very unforgiving with the tarmac. Jeddah very unforgiving with the walls. So if you run a bit wide here in Road Atlanta, you have the chance to keep the car out of the wall. In Jeddah, you don't really have that.
You don't have much of a chance at Road Atlanta, but yes, there is a chance.
And this man can head into round number 6 as the points leader if things stay as they are. But there's still quite a lot of traffic to move through. Next up will be the 8 car. That is Piotr Zadajbel, who's himself about to lap some other cars. The 17 of Artem Nitschik, for example. But he already moved up into the top 10. I think he can be pretty proud of that, seeing how he had a drive-through very early on.
Yeah, it's a good comeback drive from a guy with a drive-through, that's for sure. Piotr Zadajbel sometimes gets a bit unlucky with things, but he always manages to stick around and keep his head down and stay till the checkered flag. But he gets some good results out of it because of that.
Very much so indeed. Emil went past Vasilko, and Jurinchiko's also not far behind. Oh, but Vasilko very much losing the car over the crest. But where's Julian Chicot? Oh, there's further issues behind. Piotr Zadajbel is involved in that. The 17 of Artem Nitschik is involved. Piotr Zadajbel rejoins in 10th, so at least didn't lose a spot. In the middle of all of it, Alizai and Dominik Ladler. But I think I saw 3 cars spinning round, if I'm not mistaken.
Gerardo Brescia has gone to the pits with a lot of damage, so I'm assuming he was one of them.
Could have been. Was definitely a lot of cars in one spot in the S's. Yep. Maybe to unravel it yet. Vasilko losing it on his own. Going over the crest, over the curb on the inside, too fast. Spun the rear around, but then he had, I think it was Chicot, Zadajbel, and the lapped car of Nitschik in between, and they kind of pirouetted in synchronized fashion. So, yeah, definitely didn't help any of their causes. Chicot now 5 seconds behind Vasilko, Piotr Zadajbel another 6 seconds behind. But at least they didn't lose any positions on track.
Vasilko getting well out of the way for Ali Zahir as he came around there. Is he going to stay wide for Ladler? Yes, he is. Thank you.
It's also very fair play here. And 1.1 seconds now the gap between the two up front. But with Alizar's pace so far this race, it will be hard to even get closer by a couple of tenths in the last 10 minutes of this race.
Yeah, Ali's been very consistent with his pace. His last lap being a slightly worse one because of some traffic, but except for that, he's been very, very consistent with his lap times. Dominik Ladler has as well, but it's been consistently like a tenth or so slower. Ali seems to have really got his act together for this race. He's going for that lead position and he's staying there.
Joe Soria seems to be getting a visit from TP Racing later in this race, because the gap between the two of them has dropped down to 2.3 seconds. So it seems like whatever damage Soria is carrying does slow him down a lot more than he would have wanted to.
Emil, back in P7, has just been given a drive-through penalty, so I think he's immediately serving that because he was pretty near the start-finish.
Oh, TP Racing again losing the car out of the S's. He didn't put it into the wall this time, but yeah, losing position. And Joe Soria still in P4, but Millope, we haven't seen him in quite a while, but he's silently picked up the position and is up into the top 5.
He's got a completely fresh car as well, which seems to be a bit of a rarity on track right now.
We've had that a couple of times this season, that there was just 1 and 2 waiting to pick up the piece, and this time it seems to be Millope, and with this 5th place, it would be also 13 points, or 15 points rather, set to his name. Basically, or nearly doubling, no, it does double his current points count, so they can see even late in the season you can really make progress.
Especially seen as our driver numbers seem to have been pleasantly increasing here at the Road to Launch events, so that does mean more points up for grabs.
Indeed, and as said previously, there is of course a second split running, where you also get quite a good number of points. So we will update those after the event and post them in the Discord. So if you want to make sure to know the current point standings, head over to the Discord. But yeah, I mean, as you said, more drivers equal more points. And so far, this race would give out 29 points to Alizaya. And I think he will gladly take those. Even after his drive-through, still in P10, Piotr Zadaibe up into P8.
Alizahir leaving nothing to chance here. His last lap round was a 128.0. Really opened up that gap, Dominic Ladler.
He has just one car left, and then he has a bit of clean air in front of him. Oh, and that one car just fortunately spun into the wall. And that is TP Racing. So his race completely falling off at this stage. Maybe the damage still, or suffering from the damage he sustained earlier in the crash at turn 5, but yeah, really unfortunate for him because he had a very strong start to the race, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He had a really promising start, and he was holding position pretty well, but he just seems to have had a couple of maybe lapses in concentration, maybe not quite taking a corner properly. And now his M2 is looking pretty beat up.
In front of Jakub Jonarski, that is Emil and Jacob Vasilko trying to fight for P9. It brings Jacob very close into contention though, making it a 3-way fight.
Dominic Ladler deciding to answer back to Ali Zahir. Just done his fastest lap of the race, a 128.09.
Not quite enough to take the point yet, but they may still have a few laps. As Emil is now trying to go down the inside, up Vasilko. And still on the inside. We nearly go 3 right, exiting now onto the back stretch. Vasilko onto the grass. And here comes Jonarski. And we are 3 right on the back stretch.
Jonarski somehow sneaking past both of them there.
Oh, and the dive bomb from Vasilko. Can he get it stuff in time? Yes, he does, but also Emil got it covered. But what a move there by Jonarski. Seeing the two cars in front of him fighting and then just slipstreaming by.
Artem Nekchik, the next one to suffer the dreaded drive-through penalty.
Vasilko hard into the wall, just lost it. Went onto the grass out of the last turn and then couldn't catch it. And Piotr Zdaibel sees Julian Chicot in front of him, but he also sees a lapped car in between the two of them. Doesn't really make it easier for him by any means, but with 4 minutes left on the clock, anything's still possible.
If the lapped car can get out of the way nicely, it'll give him a nice tow down the back straight there, maybe help him out a little bit.
That is the 9 of Gerardo Barreca, who we've said was in the pits. He still seems to go a fairly reasonable pace and is actually dragging Piotr Zdaibel towards Julian Chicot. So it seems as Julian Chicot is struggling with his damage more than Barreca with his repaired car. And of course the car from Piotr Zdaibel is still looking pretty good in terms of shape.
Yeah, he's one of the clean cars we have available. Oh, Gerardo Barreca is spearing off to the right-hand side and hitting the wall there.
Lost Piotr Zdaibel a few tenths because he of course had to avoid Barreca there, but overall in a pretty good shot here for P7. Julian Chicot of course also starting from the back of the grid because he didn't set any lap time in qualifying.
And Jacob Vasilko, the next driver to get a drive-through penalty. They seem to be pretty drive-through happy here today at Road Atlanta.
Emil still right on the back of Jacob Jonarski. So he hasn't given up on that P9. That Jonarski super sneakily just stole from him, you may say. He's going to make a move into turn 10. Don't think so, he's too far away, and yes, indeed he does not. Aliza and Dominic Lala also right in the traffic again.
Yeah, making his way to lap Joel Soria, the guy in 4th place right now. So these guys absolutely dominating as far as pace is concerned.
But traffic situations have been, I think, quite well managed here today. Seems
yeah,
like
for sure. The traffic seems to be pretty polite and let people through.
Piotr Zdaibel again a bit too far away now, maybe in the slipstream getting closer. Can see the delta is going down quite fast, but is it enough to make a move down into 10? He won't have that many chances left. Doesn't go for it this time around. How about Emil and Jacob Jonarski for P9? Same situation roundabout. But Emil really suffering from that front end damage as well. It's the advantage that Piotr Zdaibel has over Julian Chicot. But I think it will be the last lap, because Aliza is just coming up to turn 8 with 15 seconds left on the clock.
And Piotr Zdaibel getting past Julian Chicot through the early part of the lap there in the first sector.
And Emi has gone past Jonaski, who spun exiting the last turn. Pretty much the same that TP Racing did. But it is only 2 turns left for Alizai, who's coming to turns 10A and B. Makes his way under the bridge. And he will win here today in Road Atlanta. Dominic Lala just 2.6 seconds behind, but they trade the championship lead once again. But not by much at all. Enrico Bräuninger will be third because Joel Surya, as I said, has been lapped and is already across the line in fourth. So he just has to complete this lap. But will Julian Chicot make a move here on Piotr Zadajbel for P7? He goes to the inside. Piotr Zadajbel leaves the door open. Julian Chicot trying to keep the momentum out the outside. And he does reclaim position here on the final meters in this race.
It was a good move by Zadajbel there. Read the situation pretty well.
Emil will win over Jonaski. And actually Marcel Vollbracht made his way into the top 10 because he got past Jonaski on that last lap with his mistake. And here we have our last podium finisher, Enrico Bräuninger, coming from the back of the grid to finish P3. Also quite the achievement, right?
Yeah, it was a really good comeback drive from Enrico Bräuninger there. He had some pretty unlucky happenings going on at the beginning of the race, but he managed to kind of hold it together and make a really good comeback to P3.
So we are just validating the results here for you before we get to the final standings. Overall, we have 4 not finishing drivers, unfortunately, in this race. But that also means 13 drivers who finished their race. But yeah, what did you get here today compared to what you expect? I think it was pretty much what people signed up for, right?
I think so, yeah. I think if you're turning up to a race in a single class at Road Atlanta, that's pretty much, especially when it's basically a touring car, that's kind of what you're expecting. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the results, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and I think there were some really good storylines throughout, especially having those final showdowns in the end. I think nobody really expected that in the middle of the race, where it became kind of spread out a bit more.
I would have liked a bit more lad-lads out here wheel-to-wheel battling, but you can't have everything, not every week.
Well, maybe next week, but as said, there will be a swing in the championship, but it's not by much at all. Here are the updated standings. It's Alizai in front of Dominic Lala. He came in 3 points behind. He leaves 2 points ahead. Couldn't really ask for more, can he?
No, it's a really close fight over the front of the championship. I'm enjoying it every week. We've got Enrico Bräuninger, Julian Chicot, that's turning into a nice fight, and then Piotr Zadajbel and Emil very close together there as well.
Yeah, and GST seems to have their hands in any position because they're fighting for P1, 3, and 5. So yeah, I mean, TP Racing currently 16th in the points, so he's just sneaking up the order. Yeah, I think it will be very interesting. Milop, who we've talked about now, sitting P9 in the championship, he may be able to pick some pieces up because Joe Surya is also not too far away in front of him on 34. Next time going into Jeddah.
He's in that very tight kind of middle point section of the field where any kind of points really catapults you upwards.
Yeah, I mean, especially when we go to Jeddah next week. Of course, next week we will also be at the Expo, so there's a lot of streaming that will take place on this channel. But when we go to Jeddah next week, a lot more slipstreaming, so people will probably stay a bit closer throughout. It's something that we know from Daytona a lot. But yeah, keeping up through the S sections through there could be a bit tricky with that many cars. But I think it was a very interesting race here today. Road Atlanta again delivered the chaos. It's always promising to us. So I'd say successful weekend, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think Road Atlanta always delivers. I can never have a dull Road Atlanta race.
With all that said, it's time for us to say good night and goodbye for the weekend until we go back live next weekend, of course during the expo, and we have the RCL finale coming up at Daytona. It has been voted by you, so you may as well turn up to drive or to watch here on the channel. Daytona, one of my favorite tracks. I'm very much looking forward to that. And yeah, I'd say enjoy the rest of your evening. Until next time, and goodbye.
Goodbye.